Good morning, Year 4. For maths this week and continuing on after half term, we are going to divert our attention to fractions. So I'm just going to share my screen with you. As a quick starter, reflecting on our knowledge from last week, can you calculate the area of each of these shapes? So this one should have been a bit easier for us because we do have the squares there. So 1, 2, 3. And what I'm going to do is I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 twice. So 12 plus 3 is 15 centimeters squared. And for this rectilinear shape, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 centimeters squared. Remember, if the squares are there, count them makes it easier for us. So, success criteria: to know that fractions represent part of a whole. And then these two key words here: denominator is the bottom part of a fraction, which tells us how many parts there are in total. And numerator is the top part of a fraction, and that tells us how many parts we are using. That makes sense as we go along. So, fraction. A fraction represents a part of a whole. Numerator, the top number in a fraction. Denominator, the bottom number in a fraction. And then whole is all of something. So, let's have a look at 1/4. We might also say this as 1/4. We might say this 1 out of 4. It may look like this if we have 4 visually, and then we have 1 out of the 4. So the numerator is the number of equal parts we're using, and the denominator is the total number of parts. So, for example, here, imagine these were 4 chocolate buttons. In total, we've got 4 chocolate buttons. And how many has Mr. Arnold eaten? He's eaten 1. That's why we've cut it in. So he's eaten 1 out of 1, 2, 3, 4. So, which of these represents 1/4 or 1/4? Okay, so absolutely, I have 4 equal parts, and one of them, I've got 4 equal parts, and one of them is colored in, so 1/4. This one, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5 equal parts, and one is colored in. So this one is not representing 1/4. This one, I do have 4 stars, but are they equal? No, I have 2 larger ones, and one is coloured in, and I have 2 smaller ones. They're not equal parts. So I have 0 out of 2 and 1 out of 2, half. It's really important that we look at it as equal parts. Like, these are all equal squares, these are all equal squares. How about fractions on a number line? Where would 1/4 go? Let's make it easier for ourselves. Let's make 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts. What I could do, I could find my half or 2/4, and then that means I've got 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. This could also be 0/4, and this could be 4 out of 4. So are 2/3 of this shape shaded? What do you think? The answer is no. Even though I have 2 red and 1 white, are they equal? No, they are not. So 2/3 of this shape is not shaded. How about 2/3 of this shape? So this one, 2/3, are shaded. I have 1, 2, 3 equal parts. And how many of those are we using? 1, 2. So 2/3 of this shape are indeed shaded. How about this one? Okay, this one, I have 1, 2, 3 equal parts again. And it doesn't matter that I've got a blank gap here. I've still got 1, 2 of them shaded and 1 that isn't. So 2/3. How about this shape? What fraction of this shape is shaded? Okay, my first job, I'm going to count how many triangles I have overall. They're all equal, so that's great. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have 7 parts. And how many are shaded? 1, 2. So the fraction of this shape that is shaded is 2/7, or 2/7. How can we shade in this fraction? I want to shade in 3/8. What would I do? What would it look like? Okay, overall, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. And I need to shade in 3. So I'm going to do 1. Beautiful colouring from Mr. Arnold. 2. And I'm actually going to do this one over here because it doesn't matter which 3 are shaded. I just need to make sure that 3 of them out of the 8 are shaded to give me that 3/8 fraction I was looking for. So your task for today, these are on scaffolds for you, but please feel free to draw them out and colour them in if you want to. On the scaffolds, you are going to use the little paint pot, which is the fill, and then choosing any colour you want. So you've got what fraction of each shape is shaded. You've got shade each diagram to represent the fractions, so 1/6, 5/6, 5/8, and 5/8. Draw an arrow to show the position of the fraction on the number line. Would 1/8 be over here? Would 1/4 be over here? Would it be here? Would it be here? And as a challenge X, can you draw 4 different representations of 3/4? So you may do it in squares, you may do it in triangles, it's up to you. And then return to this video for the answers. We will, of course, mark them when you turn in your work as well. So 1/5. So I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 shaded. 3/4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 3 are coloured in. 3/5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 3 are coloured in. 4/7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1, 2, 3, 4 are shaded in. Activity 2, you had to shade in the correct fraction. So you were given 1/6, so you should have coloured in any one of these. 5/8, any 5 of these, any 5 of those, and any 5 of those. Activity 3 should look like this. I have 1/4, I have 3/5, 1/2, and 1/3. Bit trickier, that one. Well done if you managed to do that. And finally, challenge X is something that we will mark because it's very subjective, lots of different possibilities there. Well done. I hope you found that useful to recap your knowledge fraction from year 3, and I will see you for your next lesson.